Good morning, my people, my people, my people. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadine Spirit and most hated son that I aspire much is my people. This morning topic, the Edomites, the Caucasians, the white man, one and the same. Let us get into this message at this very moment. Our Father who art in heaven, sovereign creator, Lord of all Lord, God of all gods, King of all kings, the one and only Redeemer and Creator of man. Father, it's a wonderful thing to come into your holy presence. It's an even greater thing to speak your name, Most High. As I'm about to speak your words, please direct my thoughts unto the thoughts of righteousness for your name's sake. Put only the things you've placed upon my heart, upon my lips. Send the Holy Spirit to warn off all who will try to use demonic and other forces to interfere with my thoughts, to interfere with my mind, to interfere with my memory. All who will try to use demonic and other forces to put words in my mouth that are not in my vocabulary, or will try to cause me to stumble over words I am familiar with. Let the Holy Spirit and holy angels warn off the demonic and the other forces that will be used by the wicked, the evil and the devious. Let the holy angels come right in this place and set up a hedge of protection around me. Protect me from harm and danger, even the minor inconveniences that will be used to try to distract me and lend confusion to what I'm saying here. My Father, I ask this mercy of no one else, for there is no one else who is able to grant it to me. And I ask it in the name of your only begotten Son, the great Redeemer, the Sovereign Prince Yahawasha, aka Jesus Christ. I say, let it be done. Let us turn our Bibles to John chapter 8, verse 44. John chapter 8, verse 44. And we are going to read this text as the basis on which this message will be built. John chapter 8, verse 44 says, and I quote, "You are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." From our studies, we have learned that the Jews to whom Jesus was speaking to in his time were second and third generation Romans. Those Romans children who were born of diplomats of Rome who were stationed in Israel or in Palestine were given assignments in the temple of the Most High, and they were given the title as Jews. Their main responsibility to Rome was to be a spy on the Israelite community and report back to the emperor everything that is suspicious that happened within the temple. We have to remember at this stage of Israel's history, everything that happened in Israel was focused around the temple. The temple was where the word of the Most High was stored. The Israelites were very religious people. The word of the Most High was the laws as the Israelites follow and practice. In the word of the Most High was the constitution of the Israelites, the 10 Commandments. The people who administered the affairs of the temple, which was supposed to be the Levites, were responsible for upholding and executing the laws. They were the police officers. They were the judges. They were the juries. And they were responsible for executing any punishment that violators of the law of the Most High, the law of Israel, were found in. So when a man must be put to death, it must be determined by the Levite that this man was found guilty of an offense that is worthy of death, and the Levite were responsible for arranging the place, the date, the time, and the manner of death according to the laws of the Most High. The Levite was supposed to take part in the execution of the person that were on death row. Every Israelite was supposed to take part in the execution of the punishment when these punishments were supposed to be executed. It was a communal thing. So you see why the Romans assigned their people and gave them the title of Jews and put them to administer the affairs of the temple, because the temple was a hub of activity in the Israelites community. We all know that the Israelites were black. The Romans were white. They were the conquerors. My people, in order to get this clear and to have you understanding what I'm speaking about from the get-go, you can put a picture in your mind about what I'm speaking about. Let me lend some clarity about who the Jews, the Romans, the Italians, the Caucasians are. The Caucasians of today's world are the Edomites of the Bible time. Or let me say, the Caucasians of today's world are the Edomites of the Old Testament era. Because if you notice, by the time the New Testament come out, there was no mention of the Edomites again. Because the Edomites were now making a presentation in the New Testament in the form of the Grecian and in the form of the Romans. Those people from Greece and those people from Rome were the Edomites of the Old Testament. Oh, my people, let me qualify this. In the Encyclopedia Britannica, under the topic Jerusalem, subtopic Roman rules, it says that Herod, the Roman king that ruled over Israel when Yahushua, aka Jesus Christ, was alive, was an Edomite. We know Herod was a Caucasian. We know Herod was a Roman. All Romans are Caucasians. Let us go to another publication of the Jewish community. We have seen that in part of the Old Testament and most of the New Testament, the Jews are mentioned there as prominent figure. A publication of the Jews, they ought to know themselves. Chabad.org, when discussing 14 facts you must know about Esau, it says that Esau is the progenitor of the Romans. And we know that Rome is a small city in Italy. Therefore, Esau is the progenitor of all Italians. Chabad.org identified Magdiel, one of the 11 dukes of Esau, as being the progenitor of the Romans, the Italians. And we know Esau had 11 dukes. We must conclude that since every Caucasian fall perfectly in harmony with the description of the Edomites as was given in Deuteronomy, in Genesis chapter 25 verse 25, we must conclude that the other 10 dukes of Esau were responsible for inhabiting and colonizing and displacing the original inhabitants of Europe, the Samites. My people, everything in scriptures everything in real life says that the Edomites of the Old Testament and the Caucasians of today and of the New Testament era are one and the same. My people, we are discussing the Edomites, the Caucasians, the white man. But what about these people we ought to know? First thing we ought to know is in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, the Most High gave a parable, a prophecy rather, in that passage of text. And in that prophecy it says hostility will be between the devil and the woman, and between the woman's seed and the seeds of the devil. That means they are going to be two unique nations on the earth, where the woman will have a special nation of her own, the children of the Most High, and the devil is going to have a special people of their own, the seeds of Lucifer. My people, in Genesis chapter 25, verse 25, the birth of Esau and Jacob marked the fulfillment of the prophecy in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. In Genesis chapter 25, verse 23, Rebekah went to inquire of the Most High as to what is happening with her pregnancy, because from inquiries there was no woman who have ever existed that had had a tumultuous pregnancy as the pregnancy Rebekah is now having. The Most High declared to her, two nations is in your womb, and two different people will be separated from your bowels. What the Most High is saying to her, you are having one pregnancy, and in that one pregnancy you are having twins. Not only are you having twins, those twins has two different fathers, two different progenitors. But from all accounts, we know Rebekah was a virgin. We know Rebekah have never had any sexual intercourse with anyone but her husband, Isaac. My people, yet the virgin who was impregnated and only had sex with one man were now carrying two seeds, and within her seeds, those two seeds had two different fathers. We have concluded from our studies that the devil planted Esau in Rebekah's womb in order to abort or to cause a miscarriage in the plans of the Most High, to ensure that man never had a redeemer and man will go to hell with the devils and his angels. The plan of the devil failed big time. Everything went according to the Most High plans. My people, we also know that although Lucifer planted his seed in Rebekah, he did not fertilize one of Rebekah's eggs, because had he fertilized one of Rebekah's eggs, that means Esau would have been the seed of Rebekah also, and therefore the prophecy as was outlined in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 would not have come to pass, because it would not have matched up with the prophecy. There would not have been enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the devil, because if Esau was a product of Rebekah's egg, therefore he would have been Rebekah's seed as Jacob were her seed. My people, go on to Matthew chapter 13 verse 24. And in Matthew chapter 13 verse 24, the Son of God, Yahushua aka Jesus Christ, gave a parable about the wheat and the tares. And in giving this parable, what Yahushua was actually doing, he was telling his disciples that the prophecy of Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 have already come to pass. The seed of the devil is already on the earth, and the seeds of the devil are currently among us. He told them how this prophecy came to pass in details. If you go and you read Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, after which you read Genesis chapter 25, the entire chapter, and after which you go and you read Matthew chapter 13 verse 24 and the preceding part of the prophecy of the parable of the wheat and the tares, you will see in perfect harmony and in perfect detail the Son of the Most High were explaining that the prophecy of Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 have come to pass, and he was giving you the detail as to how it come to pass. My people, it is amazing. To top it off, in Revelation chapter 13 verse 1 and 2, a prophecy is given there where a beast came out of the sea. We know a beast coming out of the sea is the birth of a new nation. And that beast that came out of the sea, something special happened. The dragon or the devil gave that beast his power, his seat, and his great authority. We identify that beast as a nation, because beast in prophecy represents a nation, and a nation is a group of people with a common ancestry. We identify that nation as the Caucasian nation. So here we see the devil gave the Caucasians his seat, his throne, and his great authority. Now we see how everything is coming together. My people, let us take a step back into Malachi chapter 1, and we're going to deal with verse 2 and 2 to 4. In Malachi chapter 1, the all-knowing God of all creation, there is nothing that ever happens that evades the knowledge of the Most High. As a matter of fact, everything that happens, the Most High knew it was going to happen even before the world was created. In Malachi chapter 1, verse 2 to 4, the Most High said, Esau and Jacob are brothers. I'm just paraphrasing here. Yet I love Jacob and I hate Esau. And he also said that he will hate the Edomites forever. So what the Most High is declaring here, I am going to hate the Caucasians forever. Those people who I spoke about in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, those people who came into existence in Genesis chapter 25 verse 25, those people whom I spoke about in Revelation chapter 13 verse 1 and 2, those people whom my son spoke about in Matthew chapter 13 verse 24, I will hate them forever. Those people whom my son spoke about in John chapter 8 verse 44, in Revelation chapter 2 verse 9, in Revelation chapter 3 verse 9, those people, the Edomites, the Caucasians, I am going to hate them forever. My people, now that we have considered all that we have considered, do you really believe that the Caucasians and the other member of the human race are one and the same? Take into consideration that every man on earth, every people group on earth can trace their progenitor through one of the sons of Noah, either Shem, Ham, or Japheth. That is every people group on the earth except for the Caucasians. Do you really believe that we are one and the same? When we consider that the Caucasians was a nation of people that was placed in Rebecca's womb by the devil himself. Who is the devil? The devil is not an angel for sure. What I can say about the devil was once an angel. But when an angel fall from the lofty place of heaven and cease being in favor with the Most High, he becomes a devil. So all of the angels that were cast out of heaven what are devils. So the devil is not one being. The devil is a group of beings. Any angel that loses their lofty estate becomes a devil. For example, Lucifer was an angel in heaven. Lucifer, while he was an angel, he carried the title the Prince of the Morning. And he was beautiful. But when he was cast out, the name Lucifer was taken from him. The title, the Prince of the Morning, was taken from him, and his beauty was also taken from him. Now Lucifer was renamed as Satan. No longer Lucifer, because he is no longer one of the Most High's prized possession. He is no longer an angel. He is a devil. And that devil name is Satan. His title was taken away from him. Now he has no title. His beauty was taken away from him, and his complexion was taken away from him. Because if we go through all of scriptures, we will notice that every angel who made an appearance in scriptures had a complexion that can be considered either bronze, brass, amber. Bronze, brass, or amber. And when we go to the Son of the Most High, in Revelation 1:13-15, we discover that the Son of the Most High had skin of brass, skin that follows the complexion that I now possess. We also notice that he had woolly hair. And when a description is given of the Most High himself, when he manifests himself as a physical entity, he appears as one with woolly hair. Yahweh, the Son of the Most High, said that he and his Father are one. He told Philip, when you see me, you see the Father. So that is why when Lucifer had children, his children came out with the same complexion that he now carries. This can be qualified by further scripture, but we're not going into it. So the question we must ask here, if I tell you that you look like a monkey, or a chimpanzee, or a baboon, you will say no. You will say no. But let us consider something here. A chimpanzee has two hands as we have two hands. A chimpanzee has about 4 or 5 fingers in the same fashion that we have fingers. A chimpanzee has a wrist, has an elbow, and they have shoulder bone. They have a spinal column. They have a head that is sitting on a shoulder as we have. And their heads have 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth in the same place that we have these appendages. They have ears on the side of the head as we have ears on the side of our heads. They have 2 legs with hips, knees, ankles, and toes. They have sexual organs in the front of their body as we do. The female have a vagina that is situated in the same way the vagina of a female situated. And the male has a penis that is situated in the same way. The male of a man has a penis and where it is situated. The male vagina, in having sex, get an erection in the same way a man get an erection. And he take his erected penis while face to face, as men and women have sex, penetrates the woman's vagina in the same way. But if I tell you that we looks like a primate, we will say no, we don't look like the primate. But we are often comparing ourselves with the Caucasians, say we and the Caucasians look alike. But I will tell you this, the primate look more like us than we look like the Caucasians, because although the Caucasians, man, and the primate shares the same features. The only difference is the primate cannot speak, and man and the Caucasian can speak. But if you look at the primates, the Israelites, or the black man and the primates, have basically the same complexion. There are certain facial discoloration that the primates may have based on its species. But when you look at their hands, we are basically the same complexion. They move from bronze to brass in complexion. My people, what I'm trying to say here, the Israelites are man, and the Caucasians are not one and the same. We're not the same. We are not the same. We will never be the same. We cannot be the same. Our feeding patterns are not the same. Our eating behaviors are not the same. If we cannot come to terms that we and the primates look alike, we should never come to terms that we and the Caucasian look alike, because we're not the same. My people, there is something about the Caucasians' feeding habits that is unknown to man, in the same way like the history of the Caucasian, the movement of the Caucasian, the origin of the Caucasian was a secret. My people, the Caucasians are parasites. They feed on man. We see them portrayed in the movies as vampire. Remember, art imitates life. But with the Caucasians, the art will imitate life with some kind of lies in between to distort the reality. Because in John chapter 9, John chapter 8 verse 44, the Son of God says, they are liars like their father the devil. Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 refer to them as liars. Revelation chapter 3 verse 9 refer to them as liars also. So when they portray themselves as werewolves and vampires and all of these things, there's some truth to it, because they are devils. They have the capacity to manifest these things in themselves. But what is more truth than anything else is that they are really vampires, but they don't feed on blood. They feed on the feces of men before it leaves the body. That means they have a mechanism by which they can access this feces within your body before it is disposed into the toilet system. They derive some form of nutrients from our fecal matter, and these nutrients reinvigorate, revitalize, and restore them. My people, I will go into this a little deeper in the series that will be coming up in the mid of October and run to the mid of November. I'll go into a little more details because it is important that you understand this. My people, not only do they feed on us, they have body parts or anatomy that we are unaware of. If you check out the Caucasians, there is so little that is known about them. Yet they have been on this earth as long as our father Jacob was on the earth. They have been on this earth since 2006 BCE. But yet, very little is known about them. The most thing you know about the Caucasians is what I have revealed to you in these 3 series that I have done. Otherwise than that, you would have been still in foggy land as to who the Caucasians are, where they came from. You would have been in foggy land because all of the information is out there. It is hidden in plain sight. But I will tell you this. They access food in our intestines, in our bowels, by inserting a body part that we do not see. Because remember, they are devils, they can transform themselves. They have things we don't know about. They have body part we don't know about, a body part we will never see, into our rectums. And when they insert it into our rectums, they are able to access that nutrients that they get from our fecal matter. That is why they control food production in every part of the world. They put all of these things in our foods when we eat it. So when we eat it and we digest it, they get a perfect meal from the fecal matter that is in our intestines, in our colon. So they use our digestive system so that they can just come in now, insert their unknown, organ into our rectum and feed on us like parasites. We have worms, tapeworm, hookworm, roundworm. These are all stomach parasites. And now we have the Caucasians who also feed on us through our rectum. You know this is happening because you feel something like a tickling sensation in the posterior. They produce an enzyme that if your posterior is clean, they secrete this enzyme in your posterior. And it gives them a leeway to go up into your posterior and make your fecal matter in that colon area liquid and bring it down so that they can go up in it easily. My people, when they are finished eating, you always passes gas. And when you go to the toilet, your feces is either a clear whitish color and very soft, or like diarrhea, even if you don't have a diarrhea. Because when they eat, they secrete an enzyme in your stomach that mush up your feces within your colon, within your intestines, and you pass it out that way. Am I lying? No, I'm not lying. I can bring you evidence. I have been the subject of this parasitic feeding frenzy on many occasions. And I can bring people who are also victim of this parasitic feeding frenzy who will testify for it. My people, I thought that this was news to me. It was news to me. But it seems to me Like the people in California are accustomed to this. It seems to me like they go out of the way. And they are rewarded for using themselves as a horse for these parasites. My people, this is the truth. Believe it or not. I thought I'd bring this to you, but I bring more to you. In my next series, I've not named it yet, but it's coming to you in the middle of October, and it will run to the middle of November. We are going to go more into details about the Edomites, the Caucasians, the white man, their feeding pattern, their behaviors, and all of the things that are now currently a secret. My name is Chief Strongblood, O Great Supreme and Sovereign Most High. I thank you for this opportunity to speak to your people on this very important matter. Secrets that have been hidden for centuries are now being unearthed. Most High, I thank you for being the vessel by which you are using to bring your people up to speed on these very important and critical matter. The devils will not like it. Their victims will not like it. Those who allow them to feed on them for reward will not like it. The reprobates will not like it because they have no control over whether or not they feed on them. Father, if they don't like it, I will suggest that they go and take a cold shower and get over it. In Yahshua's name I say, let it be done. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son. That is poor machismo, saying I'll talk to you on the next day, tomorrow.